Welcome to Ice Pack Sports, the internet's coldest football show. I'm your host Ian, and today we're going to be talking about the 2022 World Cup final. Prior to Qatar, I went back and watched every World Cup final that I could get my clammy little hands on, and I can assure you that they fall on a range from toothpicks in your eyes level boredom to pee in a bottle so you don't miss any action level excitement. And today, we're going to be deciding where the 2022 final falls on that spectrum. Going into this match, I genuinely felt like I was neutral. I wanted to see Messi win, I thought it'd be a cool story, however, I didn't really have any loyalties to either team, and felt that I'd be okay with the result either way. And then France equalized, and I very quickly realized that I am as invested in this match as I had been in any match since Canada painfully crashed out of the World Cup. I think this match may have solidified the fact that I am going to be that old head talking about, back in my day we had this magic little man, Lionel Messi. Except in comparison to the old heads today who have nothing to back up their claims, I'm going to have crystal clear 4K footage to back up my delusions. So how does this match hold up against the all-time best World Cup finals? I think apart from maybe Piers Morgan and Ronaldo, everyone can agree that this match deserves to be at the bare minimum in the top 5. So I'm going to be putting it head to head against my current top 5 that I made prior to this World Cup to see just how high it can rank. Starting with 1974. This match featured a revolutionary Dutch side, led by Johan Cruyff, who coined the term total football for their high-intensity pressing, attacking flows, and domination of the ball. As expected, they came out the gates full speed, with Johan Cruyff winning a penalty 1 minute in. The German side did excellent to adapt and neutralize the Dutch attack, and actually bounced back to make it 2-1. This match was full of excitement, however it did have its highs and lows and didn't particularly have any moments that had me jumping out of my seat. So for those reasons, I don't think that it's particularly close. 2022 is clear. In fourth place, we have the 1966 final. Now I think this match is a lot more comparable to the 2022 one, with late equalizer, extra time, at the time only hat-trick in World Cup history. Obviously, Mbappe now joins that very exclusive crew with Jeff Hurst. Controversial calls. If you gave me a nickel for every time there was a goal line controversy between England and Germany at the World Cup, I'd have 10 cents. Which isn't much, but it's odd that it's happened twice. Although this match checks a lot of the boxes that make for an excellent final, and don't get me wrong, it is one, I just don't think that it has the same quality of play and overall level of excitement throughout the whole match from start to end that 2022 does. So we're definitely getting closer. However, in my opinion, I still think 2022 is clear. And in third place, we have the 1998 final. Now, if you haven't seen this match, the scoreline does not do it justice. This was not a one-sided match at all, and Brazil easily could have taken the win on another day. I think that there was one deciding factor between the two teams, and his name was Zinedine Zidane. I've previously stated that I thought that this performance by Zidane was the greatest individual performance at a World Cup final. However, I think that the 2022 final has produced two contenders for that title. I think both Messi and Mbappe have a shot at potentially producing the greatest individual performance. I think over the 120, Messi probably had a better performance. However, from that 80th minute onwards, Mbappe just looked beyond dominant, and genuinely every time he touched the ball, you thought he was going to score. Let me know in the comments if you think that either of these performances were good enough to take home that title. Now, this match was incredibly exciting and performed at a ridiculous level by both teams for the full 90, yet I do think that the scoreline limits it and doesn't allow it to reach that same peak of excitement that we got in the 2022 final following the equalizer from France. So for that reason, 2022 is still clear. And in second place, we have the 1950 final. Now, this match is special for a handful of reasons. with one being the fact that it wasn't actually a final. This was the only World Cup in history that wasn't decided by an official final, and the winner was selected by a group of 4 finalists. And Brazil was heading into the final match in the lead, meaning that they only needed a draw from this match and they're crowned champions. To add on to the excitement, Brazil was the hosts. The newly constructed Maracanã Stadium attracted over 200,000 people, making this the highest attended match in football history. Brazil had also dominated their way to the final, winning their first 2 games 7-1 and 6-1. Meanwhile, Uruguay scraped their way to the final with a 2-2 draw versus Spain and a late winner versus Sweden to keep their tournament alive. At this point, everyone felt that Brazil were as good as champions. Going into the game, Uruguay held their own until halftime, however conceded early in the second half, and it solidified what everyone thought. Brazil were going to be champions. Yet, in a ridiculous comeback story from the underdogs, Uruguay found the strength to turn it around and make it 2-1. This match became known as the Tragedy of the Maracanã, both for the tragic loss for the Brazilian fans, but also due to the fact that it was such an upsetting loss that some fans, following the final whistle, threw themselves off the side of the stadium. This genuinely felt like it was scripted straight for cinemas, yet is somehow a real piece of history. Despite all of this, I'm still inclined to think from a purely football perspective, the match itself, I would still prefer to watch the 2022 final. So although it is close and they're great for different reasons, I think 2022 is clear. And the biggest challenge, in number 1, we have the 1954 final. Now, prior to this match, I had not seen a single minute of Ferenc Puskás or Hungary's golden generation. I'd heard tales of their excellence and the way that they dominated matches, and watching the match proved everything right. This team played decades ahead of their time, putting together beautiful plays that you wouldn't consistently see well into the 80s or even 90s. As expected, Hungary came all guns blazing and took a 2-0 lead right at the start of the match. However, Germany bounced right back and made it 2-2 by the 18th minute. Talk about efficiency. Despite a bombardment of chances from Hungary, hitting the post twice and having numerous one-on-ones with the keeper, Germany were the ones to take the lead with a brilliantly struck shot from outside the box. A few minutes later, Puskás put the ball in the net. However, it was controversially called back for offside. This match went right down to the final kick. However, the underdogs Germany were able to hold their own and secure the title against a clearly superior Hungary side. This match was genuinely the most action-packed thing I've ever seen in my life, and don't even know how they fit that much into one game. Both games had controversial calls. Both games had a bunch of goals and moments of excitement. Both games even had an icon of the game battling for their first World Cup in Messi and Puskás. This decision might be as hard as calling the 2022 final itself, but I think that might actually be what tilts me in favor of one side. Going into the final, bookies had it evenly split between Argentina and France. Nobody could pick who would win, and if you told me that it was going to go to extra time and penalties, that wouldn't be a surprise to anyone. However, in the 1954 final, there was a clearly superior side, both leading into it and during the game. Hungary dominated, yet the underdog story of Germany to be able to push back and hold all of those chances and take the win, I think that might just be what edges it for me. So, unfortunately for the 2022 final, I don't think it's better than the 1954. I think it's the second best final of all time. Let me know what you think. I'm genuinely very curious to hear people's opinions, as I can see an argument for either side, and even some of the other finals. If you want to check out my full ranking of all the World Cup finals, you can find it here. And as per usual, thanks for watching, and see you next time.